Hi, my rays of light, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on Kristen Stewart. For those of you that don't know who Kristen Stewart is, if you ever remember the movie Twilight, which practically every person, every millennial has seen, Twilight, has seen one of those movies, either Twilight, Twilight Eclipse, Twilight, the saga, the new saga, just all the movies that came out. She starred as Bella, alongside with Edward, which was Robert Pattinson, I believe, and I probably pronounced his last name wrong. But yeah, she is known for that, and then other movie roles that she's had. She's an amazing actress, and when I tune into her, I pick up a lot of pain. I don't necessarily feel like she is entirely happy in life. I feel like there is this need to thrive and succeed, and a need to portray like a tough girl image to survive in the industry right now. So I feel like, the Bella that I keep saying the Kristen that we saw, in the movie Twilight and whatnot, that was a character. That was not necessarily her true essence. I feel like that was kind of like what she's always going to be known for. The thing is that when celebrities or actors or actresses do movies that are, box office hits, these are movies that are like culture changers and game changers in our culture. They are like, it's like pop culture. This will always be in the history books as one of the best, selling novels, the best selling movies out there that ever hit, because Twilight evoked romance. It evoked all these emotions, and so people that see her today in her other roles, no matter what roles and what movies she stars in, or even if she's in filmmaking herself, she's always going to be known as Bella, always going to be referred to as Twilight. And that's kind of like a very big thing for her. But I also feel like it self-limits her in the industry, even though she is multi-talented and capable of doing any role that she wants. I feel like, when it comes to producers and people like that, there is a stigma that she's only good for these types of roles. And so, again, I feel like that's why she is kind of the way that she is with her moods. Deep inside, she's a very passionate person. I feel like she thrives in her own creativity. She would, really benefit exploring more of her creative side, like painting, art, things like that kind of are self-expressive of who Kristen is. But I feel like, she also likes music, and I don't know if she has ever had, an inclination to write songs and do recordings of some kind of song or being in some kind of music, because I feel like she is that person that is multi-talented, but she hasn't covered every facet of her own talent, either due to personal restraints, doubts, and insecurities of how the people are going to be perceived. When it comes to her, I don't feel like she's necessarily is living her most authentic self. I do feel like there is a certain level of people pleasing and trying to be someone that is appealing to people in general, into the industry, and so it doesn't come across as very authentic. And I'm not trying, this is not a jab at her character or who she is. I'm just keeping it real and saying what I'm seeing from her at a spiritual and soul level. She still has a lot of growing that she's going to be doing. She is 29, I believe, so she's still relatively young. But I do feel like, she is at this point in her life where she is kind of trying to just get away from acting a little bit. I feel like that is draining for her, spending time on a set and movies and all that. It's good for her, but it's also draining, and I see her taking more of the role of like like a creative role. So whether this is her writing or producing, or it's her exploring with some other type of entrepreneurial business, I feel like she could very much prosper in something that people wouldn't even think of seeing her in, which would be like owning her own restaurant or her own business. And I feel like these are territories or areas that she needs to explore, but there's a lot of procrastination going on. When it comes to her sexuality and her love life, I see that she's always going to be she's always going to have ups and downs when it comes to her love life. It's going to be like a rocky and bumpy road. The reason for that is because, again, she's also labeled because she is bisexual, and that is known by people. But I also feel like there is an inner part of her that finds healing in both lesbian relationships or a straight relationships. She tries to define herself as bisexual, but to me, I honestly feel like there's more of a lesbian type of pull for her, which is nothing bad. It's just, again, her not really being authentic when it comes to her wants and desires and how she would be judged. I think she thought it would be a little bit more safe to come out as bisexual, which by no means am I judging her. Again, I'm just stating what is that I'm getting. And I do feel like at a certain time, she is going to definitely settle down, but I feel like it will be with a male, and this relationship will not be a good relationship. There's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of verbal abuse, mental abuse. He's going to be like, I feel like, in the either an actor or a producer himself, a filmmaker, someone that's in the industry that she would eventually hook up with. And again, I feel like it's going to turn a lot very volatile at some point. I also feel like for her, she's in between a fence, like when it comes to children and having children. I don't feel like she necessarily wants them at this point. And I feel like, she is looking at, the next 10 years and almost like a ticking time bomb or a ticking clock, that it's a clock that's ticking, I should say. That's what I should have said. A clock that's ticking, and that it's could go off at any time, and she would lose that window of opportunity. I do foresee, that there is a possibility of at least one child in this lifetime that she would have, possibly more. But I feel like, again, she holds back because there is something repressed. Not only that, but I feel like she is not ready to be a mom, and she wouldn't be able to handle that very well. I also feel like it would create a very big strain on her part and change her life completely, causing some mental disorders such as like bipolar or PTSD for her. Any stress that is anything that's very stressful, I don't feel like Kristen is going to be able to kind of cope with that very well. And again, I feel like in the industry, filming all these films and all the stuff, we see this beautiful, radiant Kristen, on the red carpets and behind interviews and stuff, and she's very eloquent, very professional, but deep inside, I feel like there is something that is disturbed on a very emotional level. I feel like, it's overwhelming, and we will never know unless she, kind of publicly talks about it, how she has felt about these things, and how she feels, in the industry, how toxic it can be. I do see a very strong male around her. This could be like a business manager, someone that is kind of controlling her career. And I see struggles there, power struggles between her and that manager. So within the next 2 years or so, I feel like there could possibly be a change in management. This would be something that she decides ultimately, and it's going to be good for her. It's better for her to do this because it's going to bring her more growth and more booking more venues and opportunities for, projects, TV projects and film projects and things like that. Right now, I feel like it's kind of stagnant where she's at. I also see this traveling and a pull towards Europe. So she may temporarily even settle in some type of place in Europe. And I keep picking up the UK very strongly, but also like Italy and France. She may want to, buy like a summer home there or some kind of real estate that she could, kind of flock to and spend some time when she needs time away from Hollywood, from this ambiance that she is in, which is she's surrounded by a lot of supportive people, but at the same time she has no privacy. And I feel like that is what she really desires, is a certain level of privacy. Um, and that's something that she doesn't necessarily have. And again, with her relationship, there is going to be some kind of serious relationship that she enters, but it's going to be a wake up call. At the same time, while she's in that relationship, what's going to kind of like pull her away eventually from this is that she's going to develop feelings for another person. And then that's when she's going to kind of go after that. She's going to have a lot of men and women that are going to chase her as well. So there's a lot of confusion when it comes into her love life and her making these decisions and rationalizing all of this. It becomes very overwhelming. And her having to, she's a very desirable person. That, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. From what Spirit is showing me, she's very desired by a lot of men and women. And so it's going to create kind of like confusion in her mind of what she really wants, what this person could bring. And again, she's going to have to stick to a decision and understand that there's really no wrong or right decisions, but she does need to go where her heart is pulled towards the strongest. But there is heartbreak on the horizon for her. And again, I feel like this is going to be all centered around a third party relationship. Again, where she's in a relationship with someone, and either that person is seeing someone else while seeing her, or vice versa. She is seeing someone else, and while she's with this person. And so there may be cheating on both parts. I feel like she is not necessarily into a very loyal relationship. There would be some temptations and situations that come up, obviously, that she could not avoid, and she may not be able to. And so with this also, I see a danger of her kind of being hooked to substances. And this is the darker part that I get into the reading. Not necessarily that she's a drug user or she does that. I'm not saying that, but there are some dependencies or substances. This could be alcoholism, this could be substances, drugs, but there's some form of an outlet that she kind of reaches a point where she's struggling with it. And I think a lot of people may not see that about her. This could even be pills, like sleeping pills, reverting to sleeping medication or energy medication, and that is going to slowly kind of deteriorate her health. And also comes to a point where people start realizing that she's changing, her demeanor is changing, she's no longer very pleasant to be around. She's her team will have a lot of tension. She may snap at certain people, at the paparazzi. She may develop, these strong, just like out of character for Kristen moments. And some people will confuse it as her being a diva, being very controlling. But what it really is, and what it really is coming down to, is like a big breakdown, a nervous breakdown down the road if she's not careful. Because again, I feel like she will try, like, it's like she's very smart and she knows what is up with her and her own issues, but it's different knowing what your issues are and actually having the strength to change those issues. And that's what I kind of see with Kristen, that she would be struggling, and this is going to be a lifelong battle throughout her 30s. But I feel like once she hits her 40s, it will be a different situation, and she's going to start mellowing out a little bit more and kind of taking on more mature roles, or roles that are more important to her. And again, moving away from LA. Eventually, she's going to move away from California and move into a different city completely, possibly out of the country. Like, I see this for her, that she is looking at moving. She knows that part of the toxicity is the fast life that she has kind of been surrounded or immersed in for so many years. It doesn't necessarily, even though she has a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily bring a person fulfillment on every level. So again, this is what I see for Kristen Stewart. And I want to thank all of my rays of light for tuning in. If you are interested in a reading, all of my readings readings now are on sale from now until the end of September. So there's no promo codes that are needed. They are all discounted with the exception again of the emergency reading. That stays at regular price, but all of the other psychic readings like past life readings, mediumship readings, the 12-month outlook, year ahead outlook is readings, and the psychic readings, they're all on sale. So take advantage of that. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Psychic Medium Ray. And don't forget to pick up a copy and pre-order a copy of my Starseed Footstep Oracle cards, which get released on September 9th, 2019, which is just a couple of weeks away. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world.